Hello there, and welcome back to the booth here at the World Magic Cup. That's Simon Gertzen. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. We've got our second semifinal match here on Sunday, and we've got a really nice one and kind of a weird one in the way that plays out. We've got Italy versus Japan. Japan has had some powerhouse teams and has had very little success at the World Magic Cup level, just one day two conversion out of the 5 times we've ran this tournament. Coming in, though, they're one of the best teams. On the other side, Italy, they crush this tournament. This is their 3rd semifinal appearance in a row this weekend. Unbelievable stuff from both sides. Now it's time to see who's going to be in the finals. Let's head on down for our second semifinal match. Hello and welcome back to coverage here at the World Magic Cup. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Simon Gertzen, and it's Sunday. It is semifinal number 2. We've already got one finalist. That's Team Poland. Here, though, we've got Japan versus Italy. Coming into the tournament, Simon, Japan had to be one of the favorites with this team. Kenta Hirane, the kind of backup player, and he's already quite good. The other two are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, this is the best team at the tournament if you're just looking at stats, if you ask me. And it's no surprise to see them go this far in the tournament.
Yeah, it's taken them a few shots to do it. They really haven't had that much success at the World Magic Cup level for some reason, maybe just not coming together for them. But 1 out of 5 day twos for some of the teams that they've had, that is underperforming. Though this one, they're living up to expectations. Now, the team on the other side of the battlefield here is Andrea, Mengucci, and company. This is, once again, Team Italy demonstrating their prowess at this team international competition level. This is their 3rd semifinal appearance in a row.
Yeah, this is crazy. And this year, once again, especially with Mengucci and Ricci, they just have a very powerful team. And I think the chemistry between these guys is just really, really good.
So let's zoom in here on the game we're in. We've got Andrea Mengucci versus Yuya Watanabe in our main center match here. And I can see that Yuya is in that privileged position of getting to untap with Chandra, and there was no board state when he passed it over.
That's, of course, great. And he did use the minus ability on Rogue Refiner. So now this electrostatic pummeler is actually something that Yuya has already be careful about. Mengucci's deck generates so much energy. You can see that he already has 6. So that's 2 activations of Electrostatic Pummeler.
Look at his hand.
It's potentially lethal if Yuya doesn't stop it here.
Oh, but look at this. Yuya utilizing Planeswalkers to cast other Planeswalkers. And this is going to be Vraska Relic Seeker to kill the Pummeler and make that hand that Mengucci has look pretty bad. He's sitting on triple Cartouche of Knowledge, a larger than life, but there is another Electrostatic Pummeler for him.
What Mengucci was missing here was a 1-mana way to protect his Pummeler. If he had Dive Down or Blossoming Defense, he would have won on the next turn.
Oh, he found a Greenbelt Rampager to go with the Electrostatic Pummeler. Now, is he still threatening Yuya here? Yuya's at a cool 20. He's got a creature, a treasure, and 2 Planeswalkers.
He's dealing with the second Pummeler just like he did with the first one. I mean, we're talking turn 3 Chandra, pass towards an empty board. The turn after Vraska. That's just
turn 4 Vraska. Come on.
It doesn't get better than that. That's why he's Yuya Watanabe, and we're just commentating here.
No kidding. Unbelievable.
This green-blue Pummeler deck is scary to play against, but if you have this kind of start, you buy yourself the time that you need.
Well, and it shows, right? Andrea played that second copy of Electrostatic Pummeler, and there's very few creatures in the format that you would just cash in your Vraska for at that point. You'd much prefer to just plus Vraska, get some loyalty, get a pirate, and start rolling. But Watanabe knows that the way that Andrea Mengucci wins this game is by stealing it, just by straight up saying, here's my larger than life, here's my Cartouche, and here's a bunch of energy, you're dead.
And it's so much easier to win with Pummeler compared to any other creature in the deck. Even though, for example, Bristling Hydra would be a good draw, it's nothing compared to the sheer power of electrostatic pummeler if you can back it up.
Rogue Refiner, but at this point, Andrea Mengucci is going through the motions because it is too much pressure from Yuya Watanabe here. And with the type of cards that Andrea has in his hand, it looks pretty bad, and he's just going to scoop him up. That is game number 1 going to Japan on our main table in short order. Yuya leveraging Servant of the Conduit to power out Planeswalkers not once, not twice, but 3 times, decimating the board of Andrea Mengucci.
Watanabe was joking with Andrea before the match because Watanabe, of course, knew that he would be on the draw. And he pretended that there would be a die roll for who goes first. So you can see how you get back that tempo. Just play turn 2 Servant, turn 3 Chandra, turn 4 Vraska.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he can do it again or if it's going to be Andrea Mengucci, in fact, getting that tempo back. We're going to be back with more live Magic after these messages.
Test your skill against your local store community and become store champion this December 25th through 31st. Everyone who plays gets a premium full art rare, with top finishers receiving a deck box featuring Rivals of Ixalan art. If you win the whole event, you'll get the title of store champion and an exclusive store champion playmat to commemorate the victory. Find a store championship near you at magic.wizards.com/storechamps.
Head down to your local store and buy a Magic Booster Box to receive a treasure chest. While supplies last, you'll get a special treasure chest booster for each booster box of Magic you buy. Visit magic.wizards.com/buy-a-box to find a store.
And welcome back to coverage here at the World Magic Cup. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Simon Gertzen, and we're going to pop in on the match right in front of you there. That is Shota Yasuoka. He's playing against Matteo Ricci, your countryman.
Well, I do live in Italy. I'm not Italian.
You're
though.
Italian. Oh, you can.
I can pretend
With
to
that
be
flamboyant suit, I knew you were Italian right when I saw you.
Matteo Ricci.
It looks like he's way ahead on lands and has the board pretty stable at a reasonable 11 life here. But Shota has 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, and Shota has surprised us before in how many drawn-out games he has been able to win against control decks. And Blue-Black Control in Game 1 doesn't have many ways to gain life except for Vraska's Contempt. So Ricci always has to be careful how quickly he can actually close out the game before the red deck takes him down.
Also, Simon, astute viewers will note that Shota has retreated back to the comfort of his guru lands.
Yeah, I don't know if mountains are really his good luck lands, but the players are not forced to play with the unstable basic lands here.
No, but I think they maybe get to keep him if they do.
It's entirely possible that it's a strategic error not to play them.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out here. It is hard to fault Shota for playing those gurus, so those are just flat out gorgeous. And let's see what they yield him here. Well, lots of incidental damage.
Yeah, but also a Scarab God on the other side.
Yeah, that's right. Scarab God on the other side, plus Fatal Push here for Ricci, means that things are starting to look pretty good for him again at that 11 life. I wonder what else he can get. It looks like On-Crop Crasher. Of course, the Harsh Mentor that just hit the graveyard would be an option as well for Ricci.
And Ricci kind of likes playing against aggro decks with his Brewback control deck,
Really?
which is not something that you could say for most of the control players this weekend. It's just that he has a version which is quite good against creatures, and he has, I believe, the full 4 copies of Vraska's Contempt, so a lot of incidental life gain in his main deck already.
Speaking of, there's Vraska's Contempt. May as well.
With the counter backup as well, disallow open. As counter, of course, a blue land.
Wow, and look at this. Shota Ahsoka's just going to concede. He must have had nothing going on in his hand at that point. Yeah, in fact, I can see his hand was a braid, lightning strike, shock. And he said, this is not going to get the job done. So he's going to go ahead and scoop those up. And that means that Matteo Ricci, well, that's the first player from Team Italy to pick up a game, as we saw Yuya Watanabe and Kenta Harane both pick up their game ones a few minutes ago.
So are we even in games then?
Not yet.
One for
Italy, 2 for Japan.
2 for Japan. Okay.
Now, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, this is a bit of a more complicated matchup because we do have on the left side of the table Kenta Harane with white-blue gift.
That's right.
And in general, that's a matchup that the white-blue gift players like to play. They have a lot of life gain. They have Sacred Cats. They have Angels of Invention. But the Ramonab red decks this weekend have had a lot of Abrades and a lot of Rampaging Ferocidons. And to the games that I have seen, the red deck has often taken the match.
Rampaging Ferocidon, potentially an important piece of the puzzle here for Adriano Moscato. You got to feel, though, like Kenta Harane, at least post-sideboard, would have a significant edge here.
What we usually see is a lot of Thopter arrests and these kind of cards to deal with the 3/3. Because if there's no life gain for Kenta Harane, the matchup just becomes pretty difficult.
Taking a look at the sideboard right now, I see Angel of Sanctions, Authority of the Consuls. He's got 2 of those.
Yeah, that's also good, but also a card that you don't want to have against Rampaging Ferocidon. And Kenta is opting for the Angel of Sanctions and Fairgrounds Warden as his exile package. He also has Cast Out, but he doesn't sideboard in any Thopter arrests.
Correction here, by the way, Simon. Kenta Harane lost game 1. It was Adriano Moscato that won that first game with his red deck. So that is Italy up a game on 2 matches now. With so far just Yuya Watanabe, the only Japanese player able to win a game. Oh, looks like I spoke a little too soon. Yuya Watanabe just won his match 2-0.
That's a crazy fast match. If you believe
that
it.
Was insanely quick.
If you told me this match ended this quickly, I would have been sure that Menguchi had combo killed Watanabe twice.
Yes. And that is not what happened. Yuya Watanabe, the Hall of Famer from Japan, getting the job done for Team Japan and forcing the pressure back on Team Italy. But as I mentioned before, they have handled that pressure well with both Matteo Ricci and Adriano Moscato up a game in their matches here. So they have to win.
Yes. And Scavenger Grounds is a good start to empty the graveyard, reduce the synergy in Kenta Harana's deck a bit. But what's your follow-up here? If you don't have anything big to add to the board, then Harana is just going to pull ahead. Glorybringer comes down.
Okay, Minister of Inquiries. Going to try to rebuild that graveyard. Ooh, he hit some stuff there.
Yeah, pretty good hit. Of course, Sacred Cat can come back, but Champion of Wits is the real star. If Kenta has a 7th land, he does.
And there it is. Now all of a sudden things can start rolling back in Kenta Harana's direction.
This is still a super close game, though, because that Glorybringer was not exerted, and Angel of Sanction is actually a really bad blocker for Glorybringer. Of course, if you want to have it in your graveyard, you can just jump block with it, but that's certainly not your main plan.
Of course, Moscato has the opportunity to just shoot it down as well.
That Glorybringer is currently the card that is keeping Moscato in this game. And if Kenta goes down to 6, then suddenly we are also talking about these burn spells, the Hazarets, the Ramanap Ruins. Currently, Moscato doesn't have any deserts in play, so that's definitely something to look out for.
Harane has seen a lot of cards, though. You know, after eternalizing the Champion of Wits, that's 4 cards.
Oh, absolutely. The big question to me always in these matchups is, how does the white-blue gift player sideboard? How many refurbishes do you want after sideboarding? I think some of these players, and I don't know if the Japanese are part of them, they will take out most of the refurbishes and just play like a control deck that also has a 7-mana Godpharaoh's Gift as a late-game plan. Otherwise, you're just very susceptible to abrades and these kind of effects.
So Moscato down to 15, but Kenta Harane at 10 and facing an attack here with the Glorybringer.
Apparently not too concerned about dropping down to 6 with the board as it stands. I think Adriano is holding another Scavenger Ground, so let's take a look here. Hazaret the Fervent, plus the land that is giving him a lot of backup against especially Godpharaoh's Gift. And the big debate here between Team Italy has to be how to play this particular turn. With Scavenger Grounds in hand, you'll have the option to play Scavenger Grounds and Hazaret and have the Scavenger Grounds up. But every card that you keep in your hand is a potential 2 damage with Hazaret. So it's a really close call.
Okay, well, first things first, Glorybringer's in. No exert. Just going to get you to 6. Keep my attacker around.
And Moscato not exposing Hazaret, keeping it in hand, maybe as a surprise weapon.
Well, that's going to give Kenta Harane a little bit of time here. And look at this. With this Champion of Wits, he finds a land and another Angel of Sanctions.
Also, Authority of the Councils could be a bit too late for that card to have a huge effect, but life gain is still very valuable here.
Very much so. Huh.
It looks like Moscato didn't want to play.
Why didn't he play the Hazaret?
I think he didn't want it to get exiled. He wants to play it at a point where he can just fling the final 2 damage at Harane, and we are talking about world-class players here, or make Harana and his teammates believe that he doesn't have a haste creature, that he's not holding anything scary, when in fact he's holding one of the scariest cards in the format.
Because you might be thinking, if you're in Kenta's seat, well, if you had a Hazret, you would have played it.
Absolutely. But actually, I think he only had 5 mana, so also casting the Hazret would have not allowed him to keep open the scavenger grounds. Maybe it was really just being scared of what could happen out of Harana's graveyard.
Of course, yeah, that's likely as well. And you see, though, that Harane is getting very aggressive here, attacking with 4 creatures and then playing the Angel of Sanctions to leave Adriano Moscano with no board state whatsoever. And is it too late for Hazaret to have an effect at this point?
This is a really big swing, and Moscato's decision to value Scavenger Grounds higher than Hazaret is not paying off here. He doesn't have a way to victory now.
You can see that Kenta Harane has kept back 2 blockers for a potential haste creature on the ground. He also does have, in an absolute pinch, the Angel of Sanctions, and that does it. Wow, that game really slipped away from the Italians down the stretch there, Simon. And that means 1 game apiece for our 2 players on our back table. Ooh, that is getting very, very close in Japan's direction. As now, if Kenta Harane can just win a game, they're into the finals. On our other table, it's Shota Ahsoka versus Matteo Ricci, but Shota's down a game there. So, from Japan's perspective, they've got a lot of work to do on that table, where if Ricci can just simply finish off, one of the best players in the world, then he'll have tied up the match count for this round.
Yeah, the way you can think about it is that Shota is heavily disadvantaged with the game win to Ricci. So that table that we were just watching, that matchup between Ramen Red and Blue-White Gift, is most likely to decide the outcome of the second semifinal. That doesn't mean that Shota cannot beat Ricci, but he has a hill to climb.
Okay, we're underway here. Matteo Ricci versus Shota Ahsoka. Shota playing a red deck. You don't see that often from him, but, in Team Unified here, you got to work it out, and this was one of the decks that basically every single team brought to the table, and it ended up in Shota's hands. And I tell you what, if you think he plays control decks quickly, watch him play this thing. Bang, bang, bang. He's already in there for a point of damage. Matteo Ricci falls down to 19.
I think it's a great sign that he was willing to take control, to pilot this Ramen Red deck. It shows that he is willing to step out of his own comfort zone if he thinks it's the best he can do for his team. This draw, by the way, really, really strong. 1-drop, 2-drop, carry Zev, and I believe a Pion Alara will come down next turn, maybe a Rampaging Ferocidon. Doesn't get much better than that. There's maybe a Hazaret could be added to this, maybe a Ramunap Ruins, but Shota has to be super happy with his draw.
Yeah, but look at this on the other side here for Ricci, Simon. A pair of Fatal Pushes.
Oh, wow. So...
Ooh, but no second black mana?
The tapped land on turn 1 actually quite punishing.
Jeez, I'll say so. Okay, well, he passes the turn back, ostensibly hoping to counter something with Essence Scatter here.
And that's also a tough call, because you know that if there's a 3-drop, you will not be able to Fatal Push it.
Yeah, and Shota Ahsoka, even though he may prefer to get the Rampaging Ferocidon down, knows he needs to run this Pia Nalar out, as she's legendary, and if she's going to get countered, that actually plays right into Shota's hands.
You also knew that Ricci had something there, because he doesn't keep a card without interaction on the draw against Mono Red.
He would have just mulliganed a hand like that. Drowned Catacomb's a nice one for him off the top of the library. He plays it and passes a turn back to the Hall of Famer from Japan.
Yeah, that's the second black source. Currently, he doesn't really have 2 targets that he wants to kill here. You can spend your Fatal Pushes on Soulscar Mages, but you are generally looking for more high-impact targets.
Now, Shota's going to go for the card he actually wants, which is Rampaging Ferocidon. Also, making sure to play around Censor there. Let's see what. Well, he must not have that Essence Scatter. He would certainly use it here, right?
I think this hasn't been updated. Essence
Yeah.
Scatter and Drowned Catacombs are in the graveyard and the
There we go.
battlefield, respectively.
Now we got it updated.
And you can see how important it is for Ritzy to reach 6 mana here. Double Torrential Gearhulk is huge, but you have to get there. And Ritzy, what Ritzy is really missing is something like Vraska's Contempt, because
Yes.
that would be the perfect answer to Rampaging Ferocodon, and he would be able to flash it back with the Gearhulks once he reaches 6 mana.
Field of Ruin. He's going to use it to take down Scavenger Grounds to help fix his mana a little bit and maybe set up that Gearhulk for later on.
But that's not the only reason. He wants a permanent of his to enter the graveyard this turn.
And turn on Fatal Push, right. So he's actually accomplished quite a bit with that.
Field of Ruin is a
Jeez, that card's good.
deceptively powerful Magic card. It's starting to see play in Modern.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's a really versatile card. Sometimes you just want to deal with a land, and sometimes, as we see here, you just want to trigger Revolt.
So Matteo Ricci doing a good job of controlling the battlefield. He's got Shotia Ahsoka down to just the Soulscar Mage. But with only 1 mana up, Shota's pretty free to resolve any creature here. He's going to attack for 1 damage knocked. Matteo Ricci down to 12 and then play Pia Nalar. He knows that he has free reign on that. Now Matteo gets to untap. He's got 2 lands in his hand, so he will be set up for the Gearhulk once we hit that point, but it's a little slow.
Well, he's not taking that much damage. He had so much removal in the early game. He got to play Essence Scatter on 2, and then the Fatal Pushes for, what was it, Karizav and Rampaging Ferocodon. Sure, he's taking a bit more damage this turn, but then he's already hitting land number 6.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take 5 damage this turn. Fall down to 7. As he's kind of out of gas. Just has the 2 Torrential Gearhulks, which will be fine next turn, but don't do anything now.
Yeah, I mean, there are worse things than having 2 Torrential Gearhulks in your hand when you are about to reach land number 6.
Oh, I spoke too soon. It's even more damage.
Yeah,
2,
Shota
4,
is just...
6, 7 damage. He's going to knock Matteo Ricci down to 4.
That's a really huge swing, of course.
Shota's down a game here, but he's looking to equalize. And the question now is even Torrential Gearhulk enough at this point?
And one card that might be very relevant here is actually PR Nalar. Because if Torrential Gearhulk comes down, it will almost certainly target
Fatal Push or...
Fatal Push,
Yeah.
and that is, well, how good is that actually? You will get to deal with an Earthshaker Kenra. That's not so great. And then PR Nalar's second ability is actually going to make the Torrential Gearhulk unable to block. So
That's
maybe
right.
we'll see exactly that happening now.
Soulscar Mage off the top, but that just means that he has something to crew up the Aethersphere Harvester, and with an attack with everything, there's nothing that Matteo Ricci can do, and that is Shota Ahsoka taking down game number 2. I see some of the Japanese coverage and fans by the side of the rail are jumping up and down as he takes down that game. So, to sum things up here in the feature match here in our second semifinal match, we had Yuya Watanabe win. If you blinked, you missed it. A match so quickly, he really just annihilated Andrea Mengucci on the middle table. It was very fast and very decisive. So he won a match for Japan. That means, of course, that one of his teammates, either Kenta Hirane, who you see here, or Shota Ahsoka, has to win their match, and then Japan will be on to the final. Now, on the other side, though, even though Mengucci didn't manage to take a game off of Yuya, Matteo Ricci and Adriano Moscato both won their game ones to keep things interesting for us here in the booth. But this could be the decider right here. We're going to check in now on Kenta Hirane versus Adriano Moscato, and we are talking about the potential to end the semifinals right here and put Japan in if Kenta Hirane wins. Adriano Moscato fighting for their tournament life here, needs to win this match to force that deciding game with Matteo Ricci and Shoti Ahsoka. Of course, we're holding them. Don't worry, you won't miss anything.
And I'm still shocked how quickly Yuya Watanabe dismantled Menguchi there. I thought that the matchup actually looked quite favorable for the Pummeler deck, but clearly not in that exchange.
Yeah, the one game that we watched, if you missed it, was turn 2 Servant of the Conduit, turn 3 Chandra, turn 4 Vraska Relic Seeker, and that did not end well.
But let's talk about how this battlefield looks. Moscato has curved out beautifully here.
Now we see that Kenta Hirane has just added a Champion of Wits to the Sacred Cat that was already there, but bang, bang, bang. Adriano Moscato using up all of his mana in the first few turns of the game and has really curved out on Kenta Hirane. Has him down to 13 already.
I really don't like Kenta Hirane's hand. It has 3 Angel of Sanctions. That's not what you... 2 Angel of Sanctions and an Angel of Invention. As good as those cards are, you want cheaper cards to interact with the early threats of the Ramonap Red deck. It's better than I thought. I thought it was 3 Angel of Sanctions. That would have been really awkward. But here, you're still looking at least one turn where you're not playing anything of relevance, adding anything of relevance to the board. And especially the stats on all these creatures, the high toughness attackers, Soulscar Mage and Karizev, are tricky to deal with.
So I'm assuming, though, that we're in the middle of resolving that Champion of Wits here, Simon. So he may be able to discard a couple of those clunkier, more expensive cards that he realistically won't have time to cast all of anyway, and replace them with maybe cheaper interactive spells.
Yeah, but I think he has already drawn. So you can kind of tell that his best plays... Oh, no, he had a Sacred Cat in his hand. Okay. His next best plays are going to be a Champion of Wits and a Sacred Cat next turn. And only then will Angel of Invention come down, or maybe Angel of Sanctions.
Yeah, I think that was the Champion of Wits in his hand, and now his hand is just triple Angel of Sanctions. Or excuse me, double Angel of Sanctions, 1 Angel of Invention, and then an Island. Yikes.
I think Moscato is, let's say, 1 Rampaging Ferocidon away from just locking up the game.
Let's see what he's got in his hand. Okay, well, he doesn't have a Rampaging Ferocidon. It's okay. He's got a Soulscar Mage and a Lightning Strike, but is that enough to actually finish off Hirane? Well, I'll tell you what. In they come. You see a wild Ragavan hit the battlefield here as well. Yeah, and everything's in.
One block that's relatively easy to make is to block the Earthshaker Kenra with your Sacred Cat. But otherwise, that Champion of Wits, a 2-1, doesn't really have a good block. Of course, blocking Ragavan is not great. It just comes back. And blocking a 1-2 prowess creature with your 2-1 is easily punished by Moscato, who doesn't even go for it.
Wow, I could see an argument for using the Lightning Strike there, but he wants to keep it in his hand.
I was expecting Lightning Strike, but there is an argument that you are so far ahead, you don't need to spend your removal spell this turn, and it gives you a bit more backup if something like an Angel of Invention should come down.
Yeah, also a little bit more incentive in that he had another Soulscar Mage in hand and could potentially get 2 prowess triggers off of it rather than 1. And this could be desperation time for Kenta Hirane. He's playing strategic planning and getting back the 2 Sacred Cats. This is not great for him.
Absolutely not, and he needs to untap
and find an untapped
source, and then hope that Angel of Invention is good enough.
Okay, I think he has the plains in his hand now. So yes, he does have that. And he is going to be all in on that Angel of Invention. Woo!
But still, I think Moscato's draws have not really served him so well. He drew relatively low impact cards, Soulscar Mage and Mountain, I believe, his last 2 draws. So that means no Ferocidon, no Hazoret, and also not even a Ramonap Ruins to finish off Hirane.
All right, once again, Adriano Moscato, everybody into the red zone. Ragavan's back on the battlefield as well. He never stays away for long. And now Kenta Hirane has to figure out how to manage his life total in the best possible way to give himself a chance to come back off the back of a card like Angel of Invention.
And I love that Moscato didn't spend his lightning strike yet. That way, he can take care of an Angel of Invention. If he realizes how this game has been going, then he should be holding it, I believe. It's just
He's going to use it now.
It's the one card that brings Harane back into this game.
He decided to fire it off. You know, it was too tempting to take out both Sacred Cats there on that double block.
But he's very far from winning next turn if Angel of Invention comes down.
That's right. And you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen here.
It was the only out that Harane was playing towards, if you ask me.
And it felt like that's what the Italian team was playing around there. But then he just decided it was too much to let one of those cats survive.
I would have
fired it off.
I would have liked the lightning strike the turn the champion blocked, just as early as possible, playing the most aggressive version of this game. Or I would have liked to see Team Italy hold it even more patiently.
And this is a big one here. Angel of Invention, it's going to bring its friends with it. And is this one starting to slip away from Team Italy? It still feels like they have the advantage. And there's land number 6. That's going to be an Earthshaker Kenra from the graveyard.
And that's probably lethal because
yes,
disallowing Angel of Invention from blocking, 2 blockers for Japan here.
Block.
That's
Remember
lethal.
Ragavan as well. That does
exactly
equal 4.
lethal, right? No, you can block Ragavan.
You block Ragavan Ahsoka up 2.
It's 3. It's not lethal.
Oh, that gets them down to 1?
But you have to block Ragavan, which is not something you want to do, but what can you do about it? You have to also block the 4/4. Moscato might be thinking about not targeting the angel here, so that at least the angel goes down.
Oh, interesting.
In this combat step.
If you can't kill him this turn, you'd certainly prefer to not let your opponent untap with an Angel of Invention. I mean, it's going to start gaining life on its own anyway.
It's a bit convoluted, but if you target the angel, then Harane survives with an angel in play.
Yes.
If you don't target the angel, then the angel is forced to chump block, and it should favor you for Harane not have an Angel of Invention in play.
And now all of a sudden we have this huge decision point from Team Italy. And they're running the numbers. Of course, they've sorted out that, no, we cannot actually kill Kenta Harane this turn. But what does the next turn look like? What does the board state look like? That's what they're going through now.
So amazing. A draw with 6 basic mountains is kind of the worst mana base that Ramalab Red can envision. And still they're not flooding out because Earthshaker Kenra is returning from the graveyard.
Yeah, this is what red deck looks like now. Long gone are the days when they just drew a couple too many lands and they could never win. Okay, so Adriano Moscato is in with the team, and I believe he did target one of the servos. Simon.
He did. I really like this. There is now maybe a chance for Harane, because he does gain a bit of life, to kill a Soulscar Mage. In the other version of this, he would have been forced to block the monkey.
Yes.
But Moscato and his teammates correctly identified that it's just more valuable to have that Angel of Invention gone.
So something must jump in front of that Earthshaker Kenra that's been eternalized. That part just has to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, the 2/2 token is also not going to survive this block. Because it's going to shrink after damage has resolved.
That's right. But it will trade. So he did get rid of one of the Soulscar Mages and hangs on at a desperate 2 life. What can Kenta Harane find here? Okay, well, he's got Consul, and he also gets to take care of this token. Has he actually stabilized here? Remember, Adriano Moscato is top deck, and he has nothing in hand.
This authority could be great because it also shuts down all kind of haste creatures that otherwise would be completely lethal for Moscato. So, of course, you don't want to see Hazoret here, but it's still better to see Hazoret enter the battlefield.
Oh, man. You know what he drew? On-Crop Crasher.
That's the... And he's not even playing... Oh, he's playing quite a lot of them. I thought there was a list that only played one. That would have been the worst kind of punishment.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been game, but that Authority of the Consuls is sitting there as Kenta Harane's insurance plan, and he's now going to creep back up to 3 life. Oh, my goodness.
Also, had he attacked with everything, the authority would have gained Harane one more life because of the trigger, and it's so close. But I think Team Japan might be coming back here.
How is this possible? Another Angel of Sanctions.
And
Moscato needs to find a lightning strike.
And Harane has to play carefully, but he also has to be aware that he needs to close out this game, either through life gain or by attacking. I don't like how long it takes him to deal 20.
Right.
So I still think that Moscato has a lot of outs here. It's just there aren't too many lightning strikes in the deck, and he has already cast one of them.
Right, and of course, being out of range, the difference between 2 life and 3 life is so huge here for Kenta Harane.
Also,
is he going to attack? Look, he's thinking about it, Simon.
He wants to shorten the clock as long as possible. Also, he has authority of the console in play. There aren't going to be haste creatures to worry about. What do you do if you draw a Hazoret here?
Do you even play it?
Are you that desperate that you're only playing for the top deck Lightning Strike, or are you fine putting your opponent to 4?
I think you just play it, you put him to 4, and then you just throw whatever you draw the next 2 turns at their face.
If you have that much time, yes. But 2 turns, it might be exactly what you have.
He found an Abrade. What a miserable top deck for Adriano Moscano.
And we haven't seen a single Godfarer's Gift from Harane the whole game.
Now, he can use it to kill the servo, though, right?
And that's far from lethal, though. Isn't it better to deal with an angel? Oh, dealing with the angel triggers the authority again, and the Crasher, of course, comes into play tapped.
So he is going to attack, but let's remember that Ragavan is going to gain Kenta Harane a life, put him up to 4, which means that Harane gets to survive once again.
Yeah, this doesn't seem so great to me.
He's down to 1. This does open the door for more outs from Adriano Moscano, but at the cost, more top decked outs, but at the cost of his board state. That's very real.
But now Ramanap Ruins is lethal, and even Sunscorched Desert is lethal.
That's right.
He did increase his outs. That's very significant.
Oh my gosh, this is about as close as they get. And Kenta Harane just has to do everything he can to try to close this game out. But Kerry Zev really annoying in this position, being able to present 2 attackers. All right, let's see if Adriano Moscato could find it. He finds Lightning Strike off the top of the library. He says, a little late Lightning Strike, but I'll take it. Thank you very much. And that's Adriano Moscano winning his match 2-1 over Kenta Harane and evening things up between Italy and Japan. It is all going to come down to the true control deck versus the true aggro deck. It's Shota Yasuoka on Ramanop Red and Matteo Ricci on Blue-Black control. Ooh.
Ritzy on the play.
Ritzy on the play. That is absolutely critical in matchups like these. And what do we like here, Simon? Ritzy on the play, he's got tons of interactive spells that are cheap. He's got all the fatal pushes. He's got ways to gain life later.
4 fatal pushes, 4 essence extractions, 4 Vraska's Contempt. If we weren't talking about Shota Yasuoka on the other side, I would tell you that I love this blue-black control deck in this matchup after sideboarding.
But the man, the myth, the legend, Shota Yasuoka, he's going to kick things off with Kerry Zev, and she resolves.
Is not immediately fatal push.
Ritzy has not answered Kerry Zev yet. You would assume that a fatal push would be where he wants to be.
So one card that is in Ritzy's sideboard is Bontu's Last Reckoning, which of course rewards you for being a bit more patient at the cost of losing more life in the early game, and also having your land state tapped is a real cost as well.
In this matchup, absolutely. Look at this. Ritzy's going to take 3.
I expect Ritzy to play Bontu's Last Reckoning on 4 mana, and then keep open Fatal Push for the next 2 turns. That's the only thing that makes sense to me here, because otherwise he would have for sure fatal pushed.
Now, with the players have deck lists, I'm really curious to see what Shota does here, because he actually has a lot of options available to him. And look at this. He's going to play Aethersphere Harvester. Just taunting. Bantu's Last Reckoning does not look good with that out.
We are playing not a full information game. Magic is a game with a lot of hidden information, but deck lists being public, these players know not only what they're up against in the main decks, they have an idea of the sideboard plans of these players. And I've said this at the desk. If you are playing if you've been playing Control for all of your life, like Shota Yasuoka has, you also know how to beat Control. And not playing into this Bantu's Last Reckoning is beautiful.
Earlier in the day, we saw Shota Yasuoka consistently play around Torrential Gearhulk. He absolutely has the ability to put himself in Matteo Ricci's seat. He could probably play both sides of this matchup all by himself.
And what do you do if you're Ricci? You had this really nice plan, you know? You had everything planned out. And then
Shota screwed it up. Shota had Rampaging Ferocidon.
Oh, he had a ton of options.
Yeah.
Aethersphere Harvester is not even a card that's high on your list when it comes to ramming up red against aggro.
Now he's going to run out the Rampaging Ferocidon. And Ricci says, sure, you got it. Crew up. Go to attacks. 6 you. Sure. And he's going to pass the turn back to Matteo Ricci.
So Ricci also showing here that he didn't have a Vraska's content, because that could have taken care of the Harvester. Shota is getting more and more information that Ricci just doesn't have the right answers at the right time.
This is the decider here in our second semifinal. Team Poland awaits the winner of this game, by the way. This is going to be our decider. Is it going to be Japan or is it going to be Italy making their way into the finals? Right now, things looking good for Japan. Has to be considered one of the favorites in the field. Now Ricci's finally going to fire off this fatal push. He's going to use that to kill the Aethersphere Harvester, and I think we know what's going to happen next.
He also did take care of Ramming Ruin, so that's a pretty good turn for him there.
Look at this. Shota Yasuoka playing Earthshaker Kenra into it, though, and he's going to be punished for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see a post-combat Earthshaker Kenra there. That seems a bit unnecessary. It's a haste creature after all.
And there we go. Bantu's Last Reckoning for Matteo Ricci sweeps the board. Shota Yasuoka on no permanence. This is a huge turn, though. What's the follow-up play?
And did Shota not expect this card? Or was he willing to get his Earthshaker Kenra in the graveyard? Does he maybe have so many lands that he wants the 6-mana Eternalize available to him? It doesn't look to me like he wanted that Earthshaker to die.
Yeah, that was the inconsistent part about that. Now, interestingly, Ricci, he has 2 of those, Bantu's Last Reckoning, in his sideboard. So Shota will be aware of those. And there it is, Rampaging Ferocidon for Yasuoka, and he passes the turn back to Ricci. Ricci with the reminder die. Ooh. He just drew Vraska's Last Contempt. Simon.
Yeah, and he needs as many of those as possible, especially to deal with Rampaging Ferocidon.
And you do get to gain the life when you target a Ferocidon with it, right?
Yeah, because it's exiled and then you get 2 life.
Yeah, as opposed to Essence Extraction or cards like that deal it. All right, wow, this is starting to look okay for Matteo Ricci. He just found himself an Essence Scatter off the top, though. He does need to make sure he takes care of this Ferocidon. How annoying is the Aethersphere Harvester from Ricci's standpoint?
It's basically as annoying as the first one, and I really respect Yasuoka's decision to bring those in. He has 4 in the sideboard, but when you see them on the deck list, you're thinking about Ramana Bread Mirrors and not Blue-Black Control.
Mm-hmm. So Yasuoka's going to go for Carry Zev. Let's see if Ricci wants to use his Essence Scatter to prevent that from hitting the battlefield. That could prevent up to 3 damage this turn if he can keep an additional creature off the field.
Yeah, it's preventing a lot of damage because of the crew cost of Ether Sphere Harvester, of course. Also, it fits rather nicely into his plan of casting Vraska's Contempt plus Essence Scatter this turn. He also has a Torrential Gearhulk in hand, so that's
More
another interesting option. But I think you really want to recast that Vraska's Contempt if you have the chance.
All right, Soulscar Mage is the follow-up. So either way, Shoto is going to be able to get that Ether Sphere Harvester in the sky and flying. He's going to do that. He does take a damage. And there's Vraska's Contempt. Mattia's going to go back up to 13, but then back down to 10 after the Harvester hits him. If you're just joining us, we are in the last match here of our second semifinal. And we've got a very tense one between Japan and Italy. This game is going to decide. That's right. This single game of Magic will decide who joins Poland in the finals. And we've got a pure matchup here, Simon. This is full-on aggro versus full-on control. Both ends of the spectrum fully represented here.
Mountains and Ramanap ruins against islands and swamps.
Yeah.
And Ricci can flood out here. He has a Torrential Gearhulk, which is huge, of course. He can flashback Vraska's Contempt, but if he floods out, then Shota will just play a longer game and reach 6 mana, Eternalize, Earthshaker Kenra, point some burn spells at his head. He's even holding an Abrade, just so that a Torrential Gearhulk is not going to be that impossible to deal with blocker.
Man. Shota with his sideboard plan just keeps a braid in. And now Mattia carefully lines up those lands and says, your move. Shota Ahsoka, of course, is going to be keenly aware of the possibility of a Torrential Gearhulk. He is going to attack with both, however. He knows that the Soulscar Mage could still get through thanks to that Abrade that you just mentioned, Simon.
Yeah, and that's why he's attacking with the Soulscar Mage and not with the Bomat Courier, which also would have been quite the nice attacker.
Yeah, it's an additional damage that he could get here. Shota just says, yep, can't do anything about this. So there goes Ether Sphere Harvester, but there's a Braid for Shota Ahsoka, so he still gets in for 2 damage. He still has the Bomat Courier. And you know what? You mentioned flooding out. That's exactly what Ritzi's doing. He's down to just lands in hand.
This draw step is super critical.
It was a land. It was a Drowned Catacomb off the top of the library for Matteo Ricci and Team Italy.
So Ricci is holding nothing.
Nothing. He's on complete air right now.
No Search for a Scanta. Nothing. No card draw. But he's drawn so much removal that his deck didn't really generate much card advantage. And Shota is playing this weird game where he's saying, look, we can play turn 10, 11, 12. You are the one losing the damage race.
Shota Ahsoka, no fear of a second Torrential Gearhulk here. He's just getting in. He knows that he is not winning this game if he just sits there and stares at Matteo Ricci. So he's in. He did hit, by the way, land number 5 this turn. Again, not normally what you'd really want to see out of a red deck, but he has an Earthshaker Kenra that threatens to come back.
He might Lightning Strike here. If he draws a land, he has a play. If he doesn't draw a land, he can play his card, attack, and then sacrifice Bomat Courier for 2 new cards. I love it. This is just a great game.
Shota Ahsoka passes the turn back now to Matteo Ricci. Ricci finds a Censor off the top, so that's not going to do it, but he can cycle it. Let's see what he finds. That was a Vraska's Contempt.
And how good is that card now? Is our one-on-one removal spells actually what are getting him out of this? No, he needs card advantage.
Right.
What is he going to do with the Contempt? Just stop a 4/4 Eternalized token? That's great. But that Bomat Courier is what's going to lose you the game. So you don't have enough answers if you just keep drawing 1-for-1 cards.
And of course, this is all not leaving room for Shota to draw something really powerful himself. He's been drawing a few extra lands in these last 2 turns, and Matteo Ricci way up against the wall against the Japanese pro, and that was a land off the top of the library, Simon, and it was A pretty good one there as well. Sunscorched Desert is going to knock Matteo Ricci to 3.
And Ahsoka is in the tank here.
What is he thinking about now?
He has the Eternalize of Earthshaker Kenra in the graveyard, but it does tap him out. He does risk, for example, losing both of his important creatures. First the 4/4 token, and then the Bowmat before he gets to cash in the cards. However, that's...
I mean,
Oh my God.
he knows that Matteo Ricci drew Sensor Cycle, that it would have to be Torrential Gearhulk, so he says, I'm in.
But how patient can you be? How can you not Eternalize your Kenra there? That's not an aggro player.
No, this is just a Stone Cold Master at work. Let's see if it works out.
Yeah, he still has to resolve the trigger, the Bowmat career.
Yeah, that trigger's on the stack right now. He's saying, Matteo, do you want to do something before that trigger resolves? And is Matteo Ricci forced to use the Vraska's Contempt on Bowmat Courier here? He is.
No life gain for Ricci and an extra card for Ahsoka, who still has the 4/4 in the graveyard. He is not giving Ricci anything here.
Unbelievable play here from Shoti Ahsoka, who gets in for a point, knocks Matteo Ricci down to 2. And there's Rampaging Ferocidon off the top of the library for Shoti Ahsoka. He plays it, and this could be the last draw step for Team Italy. It's a land off the top. Yes, but it was a Fetid Pools. He gets to cycle it. Another one. Can he find something? Essence Extraction.
And that will not gain
That
any
is
life.
not good enough.
Now he can just hope that Ahsoka is
Once again, respecting
so-
the Gearhulk.
so conservative that he also doesn't Eternalize this turn. But I think Ahsoka has it completely figured out. He knows exactly when does he have to overload the control deck and when can he just attack with 2 measly 1/1s and still force a response.
He found a Bowmat Courier with his draw step. He's just going to cast it. This is a lethal attack.
That's very understandable. It's also a huge threat on this board and generates more card advantage for him.
And in comes a team for Team Japan. Matteo Ricci, is there anything you can do? He lines up all 6 lands, perhaps just to give Shoti Ahsoka a little bit of a sweat. Takes that down. That is lethal. And that's going to do it. Team Japan is into the finals. They get by Team Italy in a true squeaker. Came down to game 3. And I'll tell you what, there's few players in the world you'd want with that heavy responsibility on their shoulders more than Shota Ahsoka in that spot. And he gets the job done for Team Japan. Simon, how good is this guy?
He's playing on a different level than anybody else. I've not seen
Insane.
this kind of play in a very long time.
Unbelievable stuff from the Japanese team. We have our finals all set. It's Japan versus Poland. We know you want to see it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages.
Wow, what a game. Pure aggro versus pure control. In the end, aggro coming out on top, and BDM is with the team that came out on top and is headed to the finals down on the floor.
Thanks, Maria. I'm here with Shota Ahsoka and the team Japan. Shota, we are so used to seeing you play the control deck, and now you have to face off against it playing the most aggressive deck in the format. Is there anything special you've learned from your years playing control about how to play against it?
安岡さんといえば普段コントロールデッキを使ってらっしゃるそういうイメージがあるんですけども、今日はコントロールデッキを対戦したじゃないですか。普段コントロールをこの長いことプレイしていて、今回のマッチに活かせたことっていうのはありましたか？
はい、そうですね。やっぱり相手のプランとか、構えているカードとか、どういう風にゲーム展開していくかというのもやっぱり手に取れる分かるんで、それに合わせてうまくできたかなと思います。
So yeah, it was pretty easy to guess what the opponent was, holding and what the game plan is. So yeah, I could just relax and play against them.
Now, relax. Our hearts were pounding watching it. The Japanese coverage team was so nervous. You could hear their excitement watching. How are you able to stay calm playing Magic for such high stakes?
かなりね、見てる方からすると非常に緊張感の高い戦いだったと思ったんですが、非常に冷静にプレーされてたじゃないですか。こういう状況で冷静にいるのはどうやったらできるんでしょうか？い
や、これはもう慣れというか、やっぱり結構ね、こういう舞台は何回か立たせてもらってるんで、そういうのが一番でかいかなと思います。
I think I've experienced, this kind of match so many times, so yeah, just got used to it.
Well, congratulations to Team Japan. They're advancing to the finals of the World Magic Cup for the first time in this tournament's history. So good luck to you guys. You have a good opponent waiting for you in the finals.
They certainly do have a good opponent waiting for them in the finals. Poland against Japan. The finals are set, and we are about 5 to 10 minutes away from seeing the champion crowned in the best 2 out of 3 matchup. But there were 71 other teams who were still alive when we started this tournament on Friday morning. So for the next few minutes, Matteo, Maria and Rich, we're going to work your way through the tournament that we've had. And we began with Ixalan Team Sealed. Remember that? 12 boosters of Ixalan per team. And this is how we ended up. So we ended up with 9 perfect 3-0 records, and already Germany, who would make the top 8, were there, Italy as well, and a good start to plenty of European nations, Wales amongst them, Maria.
Oh yeah, I asked them, I was like, how do you feel about your sealed decks? And they were kind of wishy-washy. They said, I don't know, we've maybe got 1 good deck, 2 ones that are kind of stinkers, but they came out with a 3-0, so they pulled it together.
Right, England amongst the 2-1s, also Japan, who would of course go on to make the top 8. Let's move on further down through the rest of the 2-1s for you. We'll take a look. There we are. Everyone almost on there at 2-1. There are a couple of draws floating about. Romania and Ecuador managed to draw somewhere along the line in that set of 3. Good start for Northern Ireland, 2-1. Slovenia were there. Scotland at that time were 2-1. And then as we head on down through 41 through 60, these were the teams who hadn't had great pools, hadn't had a lot of luck. And the surprise, Brazil, Matteo, was at 1-2 after sealed.
They were huge favorites coming into the tournament with 3 Pro Tour champions on their team, and they just couldn't string it together and 1-2, and ultimately it didn't even improve later on, as we'll see.
Yeah, also true for the United States. They were 1-2 at this point, which probably explains, Maria, why you were being so Welsh.
Yeah, I had a couple of favorites coming into this tournament, and one kind of got weighted as they sort of started to skyrocket through the tournament.
I mean, I can't really argue. I had 5. That's what happens when you have the home countries, as it were. So let's just finish this off, show you 61 through 73. At that point, Ukraine were amongst 9 teams without a win at all, 8 teams without a win. Canada 1-2 as well. So then it was all about getting to 4 wins, because 4 wins was enough. If you got to 4-0, you didn't need to play anymore. These 4 didn't need to play anymore. All European, and not entirely coincidentally, Germany made the top 8, Wales made the top 8, Italy made the top 8. It was sort of, Matteo, was kind of pillar to post for them. They got the whole way.
Yeah, pretty much. And the only team that didn't make it into the top 8 eventually was Belgium, who lost playing for top 8 against Japan.
Right. Okay, so into day 2, after round 5, we got 8 more names, Maria.
All right, Hungary, Panama, Scotland, Spain, Japan, the Czech Republic, Austria, and Australia getting in at 4 and 1.
Yeah, so Japan then got to rest up for a couple more rounds. Into round 6, this was where the bulk of the teams made it through. By this time, USA had well and truly recovered from their 1 and 2 start. You see Poland there, eventual finalists. They got in at 4 and 2 as well. And well done to teams like Paraguay, who you wouldn't necessarily have expected to be in at all, much less with rounds to spare. And also Bulgaria did very well. And then finally, Matteo, in the last round, all very tight. This is who made it in.
Yeah, we only had 8 slots left, and it was Guatemala, Slovakia, Malaysia, Philippines, Argentina, Uruguay, Peru, and Thailand to make it in. Special shout out for my homeboys from Slovakia. The last team, one of the last teams to make it into day 2, and yet they managed to convert into a top 8 eventually.
Yeah, and commiserations to the Dominican Republic. They were 33rd, very close on tie breaks, 4 and 3. There were 5 teams on 4 and 3 who in the end did not make it in. So that brought us to pool play, Maria, on day 2. So it was all standard, unified standard, all the way. What happened in Pool A?
All right, Pool A, a pretty good pool by anyone's standards here. Germany, the U.S., Ireland, and Guatemala were their pool.
Yeah, and the results were?
Let's check it out. Germany and United States advance. Ireland, Guatemala eliminated.
Okay, in Pool B, let's take a look. We're going to rattle through these. Wales, Chinese Taipei, Switzerland, and Slovakia. And the results were? Wales and Slovakia through. Pool C, Maria.
All right, let's take a look at Pool C. Belgium, England, Poland, and Malaysia. Who kept going? Who went home? Belgium and Poland advance.
Then we went on to Pool D. Again, 2 go through, 2 get to go home at that point. Let's see who made it through. Of course, it was Italy, joined by the Philippines. Pool E.
All right, let's take a look at Pool E. Panama, Spain, Bulgaria, and Argentina. And survey says Panama and Bulgaria making it through.
Yeah, and they say Spain eliminating Argentina in one of the real sort of geopolitical clashes, if you like, and cultural clashes there. Pool F, Hungary, Czech Republic, China, and Uruguay. Who made it in? There we go, China and Uruguay advance, and Matteo, a big surprise. Actually, that's basically the reverse of what we might have expected coming out of that.
Yeah, exactly. The Hungary and Czech Republic, the firm favorites, and China and Uruguay doing really well to advance, and eventually Uruguay actually losing, playing for the top 8.
Maria, Pool G.
Pool G, we had Japan, Australia, Lithuania, and Peru, and let's see how that shook out. Japan, of course, advancing along with Lithuania.
Yeah, good job by Lithuania getting to the top 16. Pool H then was our last group. This was Austria, Scotland, Paraguay, and Thailand. Scotland were done at this point, so were Paraguay. It was Austria and Thailand, which brought us to lunchtime yesterday. We do it all again, but this time with just 4 pools. Pool A looked like this. Germany, Poland, Philippines, and Thailand. Germany, Poland make it through. Pool B.
All right, take a look at Pool B. Italy, Austria, Uruguay, and Bulgaria. Let's take a look at who won here. Italy advancing along with Austria.
Yeah, top 2 seeds again. Pool C. Would it continue? Belgium, Japan, Slovakia, and Lithuania? Well, not this time, because Japan, of course, came through, and Slovakia, Belgium were out at that point. And Pool D, Marie.
Pool D, taking a look, Panama, Wales, the U.S., and China. Who advanced here? Well, of course, it was Wales and China.
Yeah, so that loss in round 3, they lost to Wales twice. That eliminated USA. That brings us to the bracket today, where we've seen Germany beat Slovakia, Poland beat Wales, Japan take out Austria, Italy over China. The semis, Germany lose out to Poland, Italy just lose out to Japan. Which brings us to our final. It is Poland against Japan. Maria, walk us through the Polish team for the World Magic Cup final.
All right, the Polish team features Piotr Glogowski, Greg Kowalski, and Radek Kaczmarczyk. There we go. Got the name.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. 1 Pro Tour top 8 among them, 4 Grand Prix top 8s. And let's take a look at some of their decks here. Piotr running white-blue cycling, one of the interesting decks that people chose to bring to this tournament that weren't playing an energy deck and a Ramunap red deck. It's a 3rd deck. Greg here, 4-color energy, and Radek running Ramunap red.
So a deck to watch out for here, Matteo?
I've actually chosen white-blue cycling. Everyone knows Piotr Glogowski. He's a known streamer. He plays a lot of Magic Online under the moniker of Canister, and he's known to be a modern player playing Lantern. And this white-blue cycling deck, it's just reminiscent of the Lantern deck, just playing out their land and trying to somewhat lock out their opponent of having any creatures with their sweepers, and then finishing off the game with a bunch of flying drakes. I quite like the deck.
Okay, so what about Japan? They are the opponents, of course. Here you are, Yuya Watanabe, Kenta Hirano, the national champion, Shota Yasuoka, flanked by two Hall of Famers, Yasuoka and Watanabe, of course. So their decks, let's show you what they're running. Ramanap Red is for Shota. In the middle seat, this is Yuya Watanabe with 4-color energy. And then Kenta Hirano, the national champion, white-blue again. This time it's a gift deck. Matteo, the most interesting of these three.
I chose again the A seed and Shota Yasuoka. We just had the interview as well. I just love watching Shota play an aggro deck.
It's so cool.
It's magnificent, and he just plays it so well. And I'm really looking forward to the finals.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now it's all about the matchup, because it's not just good. Have you got 3 good decks? Where do they line up, Maria? Let's look at A, B, and C.
All right, seat A, Piotr Glogowski playing white-blue cycling versus Shota Yasuoka's Ramunap Red. The big question, can Red be fast enough for white-blue cycling, or can Shota play it like a control deck and win in the end?
At this point, I just think Shota is going to win everything. So he's just been playing magnificently throughout the tournament, and I really wouldn't surprise me if he swept Piotr Glogowski.
You're so results-oriented, Matteo. Shame on you. I thought you were going to give us a nice, detailed analysis of why actually he's bucking the trend, but you just basically go, he could play with the 60 basics, Guru, or Unstable. Wouldn't matter. It'd just be Shota winning.
No, not that extreme, but still.
Well, no, I didn't. It was hyperbole, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
sure,
It
of
wasn't
course.
literally.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. Let's keep going.
Okay, B. Gregor Kowalski, team captain against team captain Yuya Watanabe. 4-color energy on 4-color energy. Now, what I do want to know about this is there's a blizzard of cards going around in this matchup. We sit there. If we're not that familiar with the matchup, and we know there are lots of players, people around the world watching, tuning in for the top 8 only, what should we be watching for other than the advantage bar to tell us who's ahead?
It's going to be very hard to tell at times because this matchup is very swingy. Like, who can get out their big cards, their Raskas, their Sky Sovereigns in early? It's going to be very difficult. And I actually talked to Greg Kowalski before the other semifinals finished. And he just said, I don't want to play against Yuya. If you're playing a mirror match, are there more frightening opponents than Yuya Watanabe?
There's no hiding place, right?
Yeah.
Right. So just big cards.
Yeah, big cards. Yeah, big cards, big swings, and it might end up even being a top deck war in the end. But the guy with more happening will win. I think Scarab God is the one card to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on table C, we have Radek playing Ramunap Red versus Kenta Hirano on white-blue gift. And I guess the question here is, does Red kind of have a little bit of a leg up over gift because it has access to stuff like a braid, whereas in the first matchup, white-blue cycling, not too many targets there?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that's one factor going in. But to me, I still want to see which way this matchup swings because Kenta Hirano has played actually this matchup twice already in the top 8, in the quarterfinals and semifinals. He won once, he lost once, and I still can't decide which deck is favored here. So I just want to see the final decider in the finals.
Well, you get your wish, Matteo, because with 71 nations down, 2 remain. Will Japan, with this star-studded lineup, get the job done and take the title back home, or will it stay here in Europe? Will Poland get it done? Poland, Japan, the World Magic Cup final starts now.